We'll start off by welcoming Ajit Pai, Chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, to today's Wi-Fi Alliance Plenary meeting. Chairman Pai has championed the effort in the United States to maximize public benefit of the 6 gigahertz spectrum resource by making it available for unlicensed use, including use by ubiquitous Wi-Fi technologies. His leadership has resulted in a truly monumental decision that will make Wi-Fi 6E a reality, significantly expand connectivity for users, and unleash innovation within our industry for decades to come. Please join me in welcoming Chairman Pai.
Well, hey, everybody. It is good to be with you, and I'm happy in particular to see you on GoToMeeting. Now, that might seem like a weird thing to point out, but after several months on Zoom, it's just nice to be on a different video platform. But in all seriousness, thank you for welcoming me. Thank you to the man, the myth, the legend, Edgar Figueroa, for your leadership. Most important, thank you for your advocacy on promoting better and faster Wi-Fi in general, and in particular for your collaboration with the Commission on the 6 gigahertz band in particular. You helped us to build the intellectual and the technical foundation for the rules we ultimately got across the finish line. And for that, I am deeply grateful. I also finally want to thank you for recognizing me, but in reality, recognizing all of the FCC's terrific career staff with your Wi-Fi Champion Award. I'll admit I'm a little bit anxious about delivering my remarks before Edgar's awards presentation. A small part of me worries that when I'm done, I'll learn that the Wi-Fi Champion Award is actually going to the movie Moonlight, for those of you who remember that Academy Awards scenario a couple of years ago. Anyway, when I was told that I was receiving the Wi-Fi Champion Award, I figured it was for one of two things. One, you wanted to recognize the Commission's work in the 6 gigahertz band. Or two, you appreciate my insistence over the years on including that hyphen in Wi-Fi. For the purposes of these remarks, I will assume that it is the former, but please do correct me if that is wrong. Now, some might point out that it's been nearly 6 weeks since the Commission adopted its 6 gigahertz order, and they might ask, isn't it a bit late to still be taking a victory lap on that? And to them, I would say it was a really big victory. The headline, as you well know by now, is that we are making the entire 6 gigahertz band, a massive 1,200 megahertz of a test bed for innovators and for innovation, available for unlicensed use. By doing this, we are effectively increasing the amount of spectrum that is available for Wi-Fi fivefold. And while told this 1,200 megahertz spectrum will be available for indoor only low power use without the use of automatic frequency coordination. And we also make available the two largest subband segments, totaling 850 megahertz. We make that available for use indoors and outdoors at higher standard power. For outdoor use, we will use an automated frequency coordination system to prevent interference with incumbent services, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Now, going big, allowing unprecedented 160 and even 320 megahertz wide channels for Wi-Fi. And this will dramatically ease spectrum capacity as a constraint on innovation and open the door to new high bandwidth applications. And I would add that we're doing all of this, as I mentioned earlier, while protecting from harmful interference some important incumbent services in the 6 gigahertz band, including the operations of electric utilities, public safety entities, broadcasters, and wireless backhaul. Our automated frequency coordination, or AFC systems, will only allow new standard power operations in areas that will not cause harmful interference to those incumbents. Now, why is this entire thing such a big deal? It's partly because Wi-Fi itself has become a really big deal. Wi-Fi, of course, as everybody knows, carries over half of the internet's overall traffic, and offloading mobile data traffic, in particular to Wi-Fi, is vital to keeping our cellular networks from becoming overwhelmed. In fact, Cisco projects that 59% of mobile data traffic will be offloaded to Wi-Fi by 2022, which is not really that far away. The unfortunate coronavirus pandemic, of course, has amplified how indispensable Wi-Fi is in our daily lives. Our homes have turned into our offices and our classrooms, testing the limits of our Wi-Fi networks like never before. And if you have a family like mine, you've probably got a couple of adults who are on connected devices, a couple of kids who are on connected devices, and maybe even a few more Wi-Fi connected appliances to boot. That's a lot of data that is being transmitted over the unlicensed airwaves. And so making 1200 megahertz available in 6 gigahertz band for unlicensed use is a once in a generation opportunity to meet this growing demand for Wi-Fi capacity. And if you think about for a moment what this will mean for innovation, the sky's the limit. I mean, the good news is that the next generation of Wi-Fi, commonly called Wi-Fi 6, has already started rolling out. Wi-Fi 6, of course, as you know, will be over 2.5 times faster than the current standard, and it'll offer better performance for connected devices. And I expect entrepreneurs to use this band to really push the boundaries of what consumers think is possible when it comes to unlicensed applications and services. And speaking of consumers, another reason to celebrate is that they will actually see the benefits of this decision and your hard work in the not too distant future. This is not a case in which the FCC makes a year one decision and perhaps a decade from now, with fingers crossed, we might see the results. Here, we think that the consumer-facing pop, so to speak, for Wi-Fi 6 is going to be relatively short-term, perhaps even in time for the upcoming holiday season. And by taking the extra time to work with all key stakeholders, the FCC, the private sector, federal entities, and others, we can say to everybody involved that this is a true win-win. By assuring incumbents that we would protect them from harmful interference outdoors, we didn't have to require AFCs indoors. This will mean a huge savings in terms of time. Companies don't have to create a more complicated system just for indoor use. It also saves a lot of cost, I would add, from the end user perspective. There were some estimates we saw that requiring that kind of system, AFC indoors, could add as much as $100 to the cost of those routers. And so both in terms of time and in terms of cost, the approach we took will mean that consumers will see the benefits of this sooner and will have to pay less for those use cases. The last point I want to emphasize is that we aren't done yet. The order, of course, was an important landmark, but in addition to that, the FCC also voted in April to explore possibilities for very low power or VLP devices in the 6 gigahertz band. VLP devices could enable a new and innovative generation of personal area network technologies with low latency, with high capacity, and all-day battery life. These VLP devices could include accessibility technology for Americans with disabilities, virtual reality gaming, augmented reality glasses, in-vehicle system, and other emerging technologies that we can't even conceive today because we live, of course, in the day. We don't really know right now what this would lead to. And that is kind of the point when you think about it, isn't it? That we want to set the building blocks in place for innovators to play with and then see what they come up with, just as was the case with the old junk band, which ultimately became 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi as we know it today. We look forward to acting quickly to make 6 gigahertz available for these very low power uses, and that's going to require a strong factual foundation. And so my ask for you, who've already done so much yeoman's work to get us to this point, is to keep your eyes on the prize and help us contribute to what we hope is a more informed decision with respect to very low power use cases. Please participate in this next phase of the 6 gigahertz proceeding and give us the facts that we need in order to facilitate even further unlicensed use of the band. I don't want to overstay my welcome, so I just want to say again, thank you so much for having me. Thank you again for helping to get us to this point. I hope all of you are staying safe, and in the time to come, I can't wait to work together with you to bring the full potential of Wi-Fi to reality. It's been a great journey so far, and that journey isn't over yet. So thanks again.